Welcome to Bad Hotel Coffee Chat, the Calgary version. Calgary has a Starbucks in the lobby and a Tim Hortons across the street and Starbucks coffee in the hotel room itself. So coffee needs well looked after this last few days. Let's talk a little bit about the game. Ticats lose 10-7 last night and do so in another agonizing fashion. It's the second time in 3 years that Ticats have lost in Calgary with an opportunity to either tie the game, as was the case last night, or win the game, as was the case in 2012, failing to do so because of a botched field goal. In 2012, it was Andy Fantuz who had the ball slip off the tee as Luka Kanji went to kick the game winner. Last night, it was Luke Tasker who bobbled the snap slightly. It wasn't really. It was as he placed it and the ball slipped, and Medlock pulled up, and just a tough way to not execute in a key moment. Tasker took responsibility for it. Medlock said that it's never happened to him in a game. He told me afterwards, and it's only happened maybe a half a dozen times in practice. So it's just, I mean, it's a pretty tough way for things to go down for a team that's still in need of a win. Now, that being said, look, I think they've lost their first 3 games, but all those 3 games are on the road, and all 3 of them came against teams which I think are going to prove to be pretty good, particularly Edmonton and Calgary, who are probably at this point the class of the West Division. I think if those are not games that you anticipate winning during the season. If you do, that's a bonus. But winning road games against good Western teams is a struggle every year. And the difficult part for the Ticats is that those games have come back to back early in the season. And so instead of spreading them out throughout the year, as is often the case, they've happened early on. And so, I mean, the positive news is, they're those are out of the way now. They've only got one. They've got a road game in BC. In August, and then one trip to Winnipeg. But other than that, it's going to be all Ontario and Montreal and all East Division stuff, which, given how the Eastern Division teams have played so far, should give the Ticats an opportunity to get back into the East Division race. And there is no one running away with this division, as has been mentioned many, many times. And there were lots of positives to take from this game, certainly, right? Defense played well. In most cases, had a little trouble with tackling from time to time, but overall, I think that was a much better defensive effort. The offensive line, I think, protected better than it has previously, and special teams, barring the issues with Medlock, and he also missed a 45-yarder early in the fourth quarter, played pretty well. But that said, we are getting to the must-win portion of the schedule. At home against Ottawa on Saturday, and then at home against Winnipeg. After that, 0-5 is now you're starting to get into very challenging territory if the Ticats can't find a way to win at least one and probably 2 of these games. So, the thing is that the Ticats, by starting the season this way, have sort of eliminated their margin for error. They really do need to start winning games, because eventually these East Division teams will start playing each other and start winning games and start pulling away. And at that point, you don't want to put yourself into a situation where you have to win games down the stretch just to make the playoffs. And the crossover, people are already talking about the crossover. Crossover is going to be a concern. I mean, there may only be 2 teams coming out of the East Division, so that's another thing to worry about. So, but that's the situation the Ticats find themselves in, and we haven't even talked about quarterback yet, which is going to be another subject of discussion this week. Dan Lefebvre took over for Jeremiah Mazzoli late in the third quarter, and again put his team in a position to tie the game and potentially win the game. So, does Lefebvre get a start next week? I mean, Ken Dawson wouldn't specify. I think they're still hoping that Zach Claros will be ready. I think that's unlikely, given what I saw in practice this week. So, but we're going to have that discussion again about what quarterback should start for the Ticats if Claros can't go. So, lots of interesting fodder and another interesting Ticats season shaping up. So, reporting from Calgary for the Hamilton Spectator, I'm Drew Edwards.